crisis in contemporary art. Theoretical, social, and political foundations in 3 videos. Deconstructing Danto's theory of art. 1. The end of history of art. 2. The essence is embodied. 3. The end of art. Which kind of contemporary art is in crisis? There are many and diverging versions of what contemporary art is, when it started, and what it includes. I am interested in the one imposed by Bilbao's Contemporary Art Museum and theorized by Danto. Is it this art in crisis? Certainly not. Neither this kind of art. When you see a shark as a work of art, you start to think that art is in crisis. Or this gigantic spider. I refer to contemporary art, the one that Guggenheim Museum imposes in the early 90s. It became a phenomenon that changed the relations of art, public, and cities. After Bilbao's success, contemporary museums spread all over the world, and as it happened in Bilbao, the public was interested in art, but also in the very museum, and the tourists' offers around it. Souvenirs, restaurants, architecture, business. Art became globalized, and coincided with neoliberalism globalization. This is a sociologic criteria, I know. The other criteria are theoretic. Since 1964, Arthur Danto has become the mere theoretician of contemporary art. Let us see his proposal that celebrates not only the birth of a new art, but at the same time the end of art, and the end of history of art. This will be a critical approach, as you appreciate from the very beginning. I think that art and history never ends.
Who was Arthur Danto? A philosopher and an awarded art critic, who began to state his radical ideas about the end of art in the 80s, with a essentialist and Hegelian-inspired conception of art.
The end of history of art.
Deconstructing Danto's missing arguments. Art ended because 1. There is no art without a theory. 2. Theories must follow a Hegelian development. 3. If theories do not progress, arrive to its end.
4. The history of that development is the history of art. 5. If a theory do not develops any longer, history ends.
That is why Danto claims that Vasari's representation theory ended after Brillo Box. It can't progress any longer. The premises and the argument by which Danto concludes that the history of art ended belong to his own theory, integrates a sophisticated, almost undetectable petitio principii, begging the question that assumes the truth of the theory. There are 2 main premises that Danto needs to justify his claims. 1. Vasari's representation theory was correct, and mimesis progressed since Renaissance to the first decades of the last millennium. 2. Everyone could see that the distance of what they see and the work of art diminished all over the time. It is not true. Mimesis did not progress. Chauvet, 30,000 years ago. Altamira, 15,000 years ago. Picasso, a contemporary artist, and his bulls. The representation did not change much in so many years, don't you think so? Late 14th century. Giorgione's Nude Beauty. Almost 150 years later, Velázquez paint this nude. In the 19th century, this is Ingres' nude. Do you see any progress in the mimesis?
Mimesis did not progress nor retrograded. The difference between the 3 nudes is stylistic. Giorgione is classic. Velázquez is Baroque. Ingres is neoclassic. Rembrandt's self-portrait. El Greco, If Danto is right, he has vision problems, or is a bad painter. By the same epoch, Rembrandt reproduces better the human figure. Modigliani, he has also vision problems, or he paints as Greco in the Mannerism style. The pyramid is the composite shape of the classic. It indicates the stillness. The diagonal is typical of the Baroque. It indicates movement. Another composition rule is the golden one. The important elements of the painting are placed following the lines and their intersections. Artists do not paint as they see the world. They paint according to a style that includes the composition rules.
Let us go on with Danto. We show already that mimesis did not progress. The first of his premises. What happened to the other premise? It states that everyone could appreciate that the distance between the work of art and what they see decrease. What figure is closer to the perception? The women to real women? Or Altamare's drawing to buffaloes?
In 1964, Arthur Danto saw an exhibition of Brillo boxes, done by Warhol, that impressed him. He wrote The Art World to justify the common objects exhibited as works of art. 20 years later, in 1984, he wrote End of Art, and claimed with Hegelian arguments that with Brillo boxes ended art and history of art.
Everybody said, what is art? That's the question. I say, no, that is not the question. The question is, if you've got two things, one of which is art and one of which is not, but they look exactly alike, what explains the difference? And that was my way of getting that's when I started to write about the philosophy of art.
Who is Andy Warhol, besides to be the man of the Brillo box? In 1962, Warhol exhibits paintings of Campbell's soup cans and of Coca-Cola as a new conception of art, the pop art, reinforced by the exhibition of a Brillo box in 1964. The objects from the popular American culture replace the representation of the persons and landscapes, and persons were represented in their character of popular icons. Popular objects became objects of the high culture. From now on, pop art leads visual high culture. Campbell, Coca-Cola, Lennon, and Yoko, Lisa, Mary, his friend, Rocky, Mao, and Icon, and the unique Marilyn.
Warhol was not only a critic of American popular culture, he is also ironic. When asked about the Jackie photos at the funeral, he says, "Oh, that is her best role."
With the fame, Warhol satisfied his money obsession. He charged $75 a photo done in Polaroid, and they pay it. One of his electric chairs was paid $4 million. And the wall done with $100 of $2, $40 million. Together with cans, bottles and stars that fascinates American people, and perhaps Warhol too, he exhibits photos of the dark side of American culture. Photos of famous criminals censured by the FBI. Photos of the electric chair. If I'm right, He did not his work, or at least not only, to cheerfully glorify American culture. He did it to criticize American obsessions, including money.
No, I don't think I'm a revolutionary artist. It's painting on canvas, not painting on canvas. That's old art.
Just paint to please people?
Yes, because I think that's what art is. It's entertainment and pleasing people. How do you tell the difference between a good painting and a bad painting? Well, I really never think of that because I can't really tell. Just displayed nicely in museums. It's something to go to on Sunday afternoon for your kids too.
Warhol's arrival at his London gallery is like a royal progress.
It's a major series of self-portraits for quite a long time. What prompted this one?
I ran out of ideas.
Not only is ironic and convinced people to pay for simple Polaroids, but also he played the innocent, taunting them.